People come to historic preservation for all sorts of reasons. Some come because they love history, or they're passionate about old architecture, historic architecture, or they're tradespeople, craftspeople. And for me, I have spent my life really working in communities, helping people save places that matter to those communities, and also using historic preservation as a tool for making their communities better. I got involved in historic preservation as a high school student, and it was the time of the bicentennial, and communities all across the country, including my own, were gearing up to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the American Revolution. And I started on an archaeology dig and did another project my sophomore year, and every year I was involved in something. And then when I went to college, I had some summer jobs in preservation and found a career path, which has sustained me my entire life.
Wendy has always been inspiring to many preservation people. So she is really a role model in how you approach historic preservation, how you talk to people about historic preservation, and how you have fun with historic preservation. Wendy has been a great proponent of whole place preservation for some time. I think it's been over 2 decades. And it's all about saving houses in the landscape or saving buildings in the landscape. When you have large tracts of land, and land conservationists want to preserve the land, there may be an historic house that's there on the property, and the land conservationists are not really aware of the house or its importance. So she really began to talk about, we need to get into the network, we need to get into their tent. And Wendy was really a proponent nationally of this.
When it comes down to the basics, the 2 most important tools in preservation are education and advocacy. If you don't have an educated public that understands preservation, that has a sense of history, that understands the architecture, the people, the stories that go with it, it's very hard to promote and preserve that history. So one of the things that Wendy helped pilot and really grew into a very dynamic program was our children's education, where we taught preservation in grade school, and it was offered to any school in Rhode Island. So we educated generations of young people about Providence and Rhode Island history.
In the 40 years that I've known Wendy, one of the things that I've most admired about her is her activism. Wendy was active at the federal level, at the state level, and certainly at the local level. Years ago, Wendy, who knew a very influential state senator, Sean Coffey, convinced him to establish a state preservation commission, and that was a legislative commission to explore the role that preservation could play in Rhode Island and what might be done legislatively to make that happen.
So Wendy and I developed the Northeast African American Historic Places Outreach Program, and it was 4 years, $1 million investment through the 1772 Foundation, and we worked from Maine to Delaware, helping stewards preserve places important in African American history. And that transformational moment in the U.S. historic preservation movement has created a foundation for the blueprint that we call today the African American Cultural Heritage Action Fund. Her career is distinctive for helping to preserve cultural landscapes and historic buildings, but her real impact is helping to create preservation leaders like myself.
In historic preservation, you need all kinds of people at the table helping. I really worked very hard to get the right people on the bus, essentially, bring together the people, and we had fabulous support in the community for PPS. And frankly, my heart's still here.